An
potentially.
interesting question by Florida Buckeye. Thanks for tuning in. He says, "Hey Mark, Desmond Howard thinks the Wolverines have the deepest receiver
No,
room in the nation.
no.
Thoughts from Des and Dre." So
Yep.
before you answer, you've given your answer. Someone had put in the chat something like Desmond is the dumbest guy I know. So like I didn't see this comment first. So I'm like, geez, oh Pete, that's like it's a bit aggressive. I thought they were talking about me, obviously, but so I'm glad they were not. So thank you. But so you don't feel this way, Dre? You don't think they have the deepest
In
receiver
the
room in the nation?
nation, no, no. I mean, they don't even have the deepest receiver room in the conference. That is unfortunately Ohio State, and I think Michigan is second. I would say Michigan has maybe a top 10 in the country in receiver depth. But I can't say in a nation. I mean, if you're talking about having the deepest receiver room in the nation, that means you probably have a couple of high round picks in that room, and probably more to come in that room. That's more of Ohio State territory where they're sitting, where they're in Alabama, where they're pumping out one or two first round receivers every year. So no way I can say that they have the most depth. No way. But they're really good. I believe they're potentially top 10 in the country, but definitely not number one.
Yeah, I the way that I look at it is I kind of look at who's the number one, who's the guy in that room, and then right have them go head to head, and then kind of move on down the list. And I mean, you could be the biggest diehard Michigan fan on the planet. There's no way that you would see whoever you choose as Michigan's number one to be on the same level as Smith and Jigba. Like that young man is extremely talented, and not just talented but also productive. Whereas I look at a guy like Cornelius Johnson, who I think is talented, but he has not yet shown the production. So Smith and Jigba's got both. And then even in the bowl game, I mean, a lot of those young guys, I think Harrison Jr. played pretty well. And there's another young guy, and his name slips me my mind right now, but I mean, they have guys who I believe those guys were true freshmen last year who played well in that Rose Bowl. And you're talking about coming into this year as a sophomore and Smith and Jigba. I I I don't think there's no Michigan does not have the deepest receiver room in the nation. I think they have enough to accomplish the goals that they want to accomplish, but to say that they have the deepest room in the nation, I don't believe that at all. Mark, what do you think?
Well, when somebody says that somebody's deep at a position and doesn't make the statement that it's the best wide receiver room in the country or it's the most talented wide receiver room in the country, then it's kind of a balancing act of what do you mean by deep. So they've got five or six good receivers that aren't quite what the receiver top receivers are at some of the places we're talking about, but they've got five or six guys. You know, yeah, I just don't think it's. I understand. I don't think it's a completely ridiculous statement if he's talking strictly about depth and having five or six guys that can play, but we can name a few other teams that have those five or six guys that can play. And to your point, Des, um, they're better at the top end.
Gentlemen, name one Michigan receiver that you believe will start for Ohio State or Alabama.
I think
Eh,
I think maybe a healthy
Let's
Ronnie
answer.
Bell,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe.
No, no, he wouldn't. Ronnie Bell
Maybe.
will be a rotational kid. Maybe he gets in there for a couple snaps, but no, no. Look, and part of this is not really the kid's fault because some of these kids may be very like DPJ, right? When while he was here, Tariq Black, Nico Collins, those kids when they were here, those were highly rated. I mean, Cornelius Johnson, highly rated, 4-star receivers coming out of high school. But Michigan historically has not done it for a long time. Has not done a really good job of developing receivers. That's just That's a fact.